Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between the Lizardmen and the Greenskins. It's going to be myself and Nakai facing off against Subutai, who's going to be rocking the sneaky Goblin Lord here on the Battle for Itza. And it's going to be a heavy-duty brawl for sure. Now, in the front line for myself, it is going to be Saurus Warriors with shields. These guys are just an awesome frontliner. They'll dominate most of the Greenskin basic troopers, like Orc Boys and Savage Orcs and things like that. Insanely good leadership, hard hitting at 52 weapon strength, and though their melee attack isn't the highest, you don't need the best melee attack against a lot of Greenskin troops because their MD is kind of low. And you do want to bring shields, because Greenskins, for some reason, are one of the most archer-heavy factions in the entire game. So you definitely want to bring the shield. So we got Saurus Warriors into the sunset, and to provide a little bit of poke against the archers and against blobs, it is going to be ancient salamanders. These things are freaking awesome. They're decent in melee as well and do cause terror, so that kind of checks off that box. Against Greenskins, you typically want to have something that causes terror, and at range, they can nuke blobs pretty well. They can shoot at the Orc Boy Biggins, and are just kind of a mobile, terror-causing disruptor unit. Now, I didn't bring healing. I went with a Beastcaster, so we do have a Skink Priest of Beast here on the ground. Nakai the Wanderer is going to be leading the front line as well. And I feel like he's kind of a sleeper unit that a lot of people definitely should try incorporating into their builds. He does have the Golden Tribute, so that gives nearby units perfect vigor. So in late game blob fights, your Lizardman blob is going to be insanely good. On top of that, he does have the not Primal Roar. He does have that, but I didn't bring it, but he has the Miasma of Despair. This is nice against Greenskins for winning a key fight, can lower their leadership and their vigor. Certainly, a big game changer. Now, that is it for my core build, aside from a couple Chameleon Skinks up on the high ground. And for old Subutai, it's a classic Greenskin Unga Bunga. We do have a massive front line of Orc Boys backed up by some Squig Herds. Vindictive Glare going down from the Night Goblin Shaman there. It looks like it was a bit of a miss for him, unfortunately. A lot of Air Boys, and the Lord is going to be a Night Goblin Warboss with his Fermented Fungi. Now, the thing about Fermented Fungi, it's insanely good, but Lizardmen don't care too much about it because you can use Cold-Blooded on your characters. So Nakai can use Cold-Blooded, and my Skink Priest can use his Focus Instincts to stop rampaging of nearby units. So even if they rampage you, you can get out of it very quickly. So that's why I feel very comfortable about just putting these guys forward, because even if he rampages me with Fermented Fungi, I'm just going to get out of it instantly with my Cold-Blooded and be feeling pretty good about myself. So knowing that the Greenskin Wall is pretty savage, including the Savage Orcs, I am going to be hunkering down on Objective 3. I figured it'd be a little bit easier to defend one objective rather than spread out wide and kind of play their game. Just to get some free points up in the high ground here, I do have my Chameleon Skinks, and I do manage to steal Objective 1, but a quick response from some Goblins and Squig Herds is going to force me back. You don't want to be shooting at Goblins. They have a ton of HP and shields, and it's really a waste of your ammunition. So I decided to yield the point, and I've really, at this point, committed to the idea that I'm going to be trying to value trade and just grind him back slowly and hopefully be able to triple cap. Now, Saurus Warriors charging into the little mushroom people, so you can see the Squigs with their anti-infantry is going to be saturating in, but Saurus Warriors are no joke. Like I said, they hit very hard, 52 weapon strength against a low armor, low MD Squig Herd. They will win that fight pretty decisively. So now the mainline fighting is underway. We do get these shots coming in from the Ancient Salamanders into the broken Tusk Mob here, but the Tusk Mob does charge into the Saurus Warriors. And we're calling in one of my favorite units on the Lizard roster, the Star Chamber Guardian. So, Greenskins do have a lot of big targets. These things are silver shielded, anti-large against trolls and squigs and boar boys, and they're also unbreakable when a character is nearby. So you put them with Nakai or on an objective that you really want to hold down, and they're going to be doing great for you. Now, firepower coming from the Savage Orcs here in the distance is going to be aiming into my poor Saurus Warriors, but they do have shields, so it's all good. Nakai going to be getting focus fired a little bit as well, but at 120 armor as well as ward save and missile resist, I think of 20% with his scaly skin, 15 plus 10, so 25% mitigation there, plus 120 armor. He is really hard to kill. So here's the Primal Roar, or the Miasma of Despair. Same thing, he roared. Oh, he just sucker punched that Squig. That's one of the coolest animations ever. He doesn't use his blade and just punches them in the face. But that does lower the leadership of these units, routes off the Squig Herds right there, and the Temple Guard are now going to be moving forth to engage the Broken Tusk Mob, which they should have a pretty good time against. And Subutai, of course, being the veteran player he is going to be retreating from the threat here, very, very smart, and will be rear charging into my Saurus Warriors. So very good control here, but now the Star Chamber Guardian's going to be hustling up. As far as value trading goes, it's very even, and here's the Fermented Fungi. So I was like, oh no, call an ambulance, but not for me. So you're going to be seeing it in a second there. We do use the Control Instincts, which is going to be stopping the rampage from the little Skink Priest here, and now he'll just be pulling back and be nice and jolly, and Nakai punts that little goblin into the Shadow Realm, knocks him over the Orc Boys. So certainly making a show of it, as the Ancient Salamanders do repeat some fire into the Orc Air Boys back here, taking down a handful of models. Nakai getting a pretty good beat down on the Night Goblin Warboss, but I didn't want to extend too deeply into his lands. I figured if I chase him into the open, all the Air Boys and maybe some Orc Boar Boys would be able to surround Nakai, so I will fight him in this area, but I'm not going to be chasing too deeply if memory serves, although this game was played a couple days ago, so I'm not 100% sure. Now, Star Chamber Guardians being swarmed on by the Orc Boys, and a lot of units and some Savage Orcs are going to be flanking into the back of them. But Star Chamber Guardians, a very, very durable unit. Really, really good stat line. I'm hoping that they'll be able to anchor me down for the rest of the game. And to avoid not getting pulled into a bad situation, I do retreat back. You can already see the Arrow Boys saturating in, doing some good work. And a Vindictive Glare from the nasty Gobbo over here does nail my poor little skink, but didn't do too much damage. I think some of the magic missiles did get caught up on the hill. In the backfield, some Orc War Boys did attempt to flank in and get on top of the Ancient Salamanders, but Ancient Salamanders do get some help from the cleverest of girls, the Velociraptors, and they will be able to tear apart these Orc War Boys. They're going to get shredded pretty darn good. Kroxigor is also being called in the second wave of reinforcements. Kroxigor's got their spanking paddles out and going to be putting a whooping here on these goblins. I love how their animations are just so slow and ponderous. I think it's one of the funniest things ever. And they just bonk them right on their stupid little heads. But here we go. Feral Cold One surging forward in the second wave. Subutai with a firm control on the objectives. But I know, even though the value is kind of close, that Lizardmen just have this uncanny ability to like, just grind you out. They're one of the grindiest factions in the entire game. And Greenskin leadership is very fickle. He's probably had a handful of units flee off the battlefield, and their value isn't being reflected in the damage meter. So I actually felt like I was kind of ahead at this point. But as far as this side goes, the Clever Girls surging in to help the Star Chamber Guardians, who are unbreakable and terrified. I think like Nakai got there a little bit late. But now they're back in action, and from here on out, they're going to be more or less unbreakable. Ancient Salamander Firepower doing some okay work into the Savage Orc Arrow Boys here while the Kroxigors move up. Couple Skink cohorts, and Clever Girls going to be routing past the Orc Boys here, pushing the Orc Boys into a rout, moving up on the objective. And now it is time for the Lizards to surge forward and try and get some ground. In the high ground, I do call in a Skink cohort who's going to be heading towards Objective 1. Because I know I'm really far behind on points, and if I let it become a triple cap situation where I don't have much time and I'm panicking on an objective, it's going to be tough. Greenskins are mobile, and they can certainly swarm on a point very well. Fermented Fungi going down by Subutai and the Feral Cold Ones, and that was a pretty good cast by him because I didn't want to waste the Cold Blood. I wanted to save it, although that probably was a mistake. I can't forget, don't play Lizardmen too often. Is there limited charges on this? I guess not, so I probably should have just used it. For some reason, I thought it was like a 3-charge thing in my head, but yeah, you can see how often I play these guys. For the Feral Cold Ones, Rampage, not a huge deal. They have Saurus support and Star Chamber Guardians, 37 models. They're also giving Guardian buffs to Nakai, which is pretty rad, so he's going to get physical resist on top of his ward save. But here in the middle, there's not much resistance from the Greenskins in the way of infantry. Most of their Unga Bunga was really, really pushed forward and did get grinded down by the more elite Saurus warriors. Up on the high ground, we do have our Skink cohort arriving. They're going to be grabbing Objective 1, pretty uncontested. Greenskins don't have a whole lot there. But now this is where it gets a little bit wild, right? Like, I had the advantage in that he was pushing into me, so I had faster reinforcements, but now I'm pushing into his archer range and his kind of kill zones here. So we're going to see if the resilience of the Lizardmen will continue to play. Ancient Sally still dropping shots, and we are going to be calling in a Salamander Hunting Pack. These things are pretty awesome against Greenskins, good against Trolls, honestly don't do bad against infantry, and he did have the Swamp Fing, so I had to make sure to get a lock on those units, knock them down, and set up shop there. So this objective's completely dominated, and we do have the Saurus Warriors and the Elite Temple Guard claiming victory. Nakai the Wanderer, he's petting one of his little reptile friends over here. And soon they'll be moving on over to the middle, which we do have. And now we have the reverse cap. So we have the triple cap, but we just need to hold on to it. Using the 2 Ancient Salamanders with their fire damage to blitz in against the fire vulnerable Swamp Things. Trying to get a terror out on them, but they do stabilize. And we do get some good focus fire. Little Salamander Hunting Packs not doing bad at all as far as fighting on the point goes. We are running out of steam a little bit. We have a couple units of Skinks which are very beat up and an extremely damaged Kroxigor. And now the mobility of the Greenskins is going to be surging past me. Orc War Boys as well as Forest Goblin Spider Riders. So I was like, uh-oh, I don't really have anything to defend these new expensive units I called in. So the Salamander's going to be running back. But sweet pig, them hogs, they're getting in there and they're moving. They're going to be chasing down some of those Salamanders. So I'll run back to the comforting warm arms here, or cold-blooded arms, I should say, of these Saurus Warriors, who in their first life did very, very well. You can see they've come back and they've restocked. Value in their first life about 500 here, but they should grind down these lizards well. But Subutai is pretty good micro. So he's going to be rapidly clicking on the Orc War Boys and trying to force his way through because he does have the mass. So some of my Salamander Hunting Packs here are going to be hunted down. So unfortunately, despite my screen, he pushes through very well and will be punishing a number of those Salamanders. But on that same note, he's going to be losing a lot of units as well. And Objective 3 is firmly under our control. And now Nakai has taken his Goon Squad over to the middle, and they are here for blood. And we have a nasty combo, right? We have the Temple Guard with anti-large, magic damage, which is really nice. Nakai's going to be debuffing leadership and causing fear. And also basic Saurus Warriors with their shields just to buff route HP. So here comes the beatdown. Fermented Fungi going down to Star Chamber Guardians, not a big deal. They're really not going to do too much there. On the high ground, it looks like he's going to be sweeping this objective back. We do see the Orc Warboy Biggins coming in, and these little skinks would probably win this fight here. But when the, I guess, heavy cavalry arrive, the Squealing Hogs, it's going to be a little bit of a tricksy one, right? So those guys get pounded. My poor skink cohorts are sent off to the Shadow Realm from the tusks of those pigs, and Objective 1 is going to be going back to Subutai. But now I have it comfortably in a position where I can just win on this one objective, right? Or not one, but these two objectives. So if I can just hold Objective 2 and Objective 3, I felt pretty confident. The big old wah going down here. We got the duel of fates between Dust Swamp Things and Nakai the Wanderer. He's going to be taking some of these things to the club, I would imagine, although he has ideas elsewhere. I think I wanted to go after the Goblin character. I'm not quite sure. Nope, he just did some WWE shit right there. You see what I'm saying? Like, even though the value is very close, it's literally dead even. Like, I have a lot of units that are just staying and fighting to the bitter end, whereas many of the Greenskin units have been routed off the battlefield or are breaking here and there. And that is where the Lizardmen leadership and their grinding capabilities really come into play. So Nakai is here causing fear. Some arrow fire coming in from the Greenskins, but a lot of armor here. Feral Cold Ones themselves have 90 armor, right? So that's pretty nutty. And the ammunition is running very, very low for these guys. I did actually manage to rally some Salamanders. We have 18 of them, but I didn't notice a sneaky Subutai plays here. He's got his Force Goblins. I thought I got him off the map, but they're going to be creeping around the back there, and that's going to feel pretty bad. I don't think I even noticed him with these Cold and Spear Riders. Even though they're moving that way, I can't remember if I did, but even still, he is going to get the Salamanders and most likely break them. But Nakai is just unbreakable here, man. He's causing a lot of havoc, and these Star Chamber Guardians, because there's a character nearby, they do have the Eternal Duty, because Nakai, right? So that's going to be giving them unbreakable. And the Ancient Salamanders still both have 5,000 HP. They cause terror. They're, okay fighters. They're going to be okay against the basic Orc Boys, especially. Another Flock of Doom going down from my Noble Caster. This little Skink Priest, he only costs 450 gold. Talk about a steal, right? He's doing really nice with those Flock of Dooms. High ground objective, though, owned by the Greenskins, and we have copious amounts of reinforcements coming in. It's going to be Saurus Warriors and Croxagores, as well as Coldland Spear Riders, going to be moving up to the point. And the Greenskins are really, really on their last legs here. We got the Broken Tusk Mob coming in, but the Nakai just cannot be broken, man. There's nothing that's going to be able to stop that pissed off Crocodile Lizardman thing. Another Vindictive Glare, though, that's one way to do it. He is down to 3,000 HP, and you can see his HP is being slowly whittled down by that Archer Fire, but 3,000 HP is a hell of a lot. And the Saurus Warriors with their 10,000 HP, pretty damn insane. A lot of units that have 10,000 HP are like zombies and deckhand mobs, which just disintegrate because their stats are so bad, but Saurus are in a whole different family there. So we get the Croxagores moving up. Obviously a bad fight versus Broken Tusk Mob, but if they do have infantry support, the Broken Tusk Mob is going to trade very badly here. Spotted a bad moon going down, though, which is very nice. It's going to give him a big stat line buff, but Nakai is in, and he's going to be giving ward save to the Croxagores, which is really, really sweet. And just to make sure we don't lose the side objective, I do call out a Skink cohort and move over there. Always a good idea in really dicey games like this, because you can move them like right in the middle and then decide where you want them to go, and they're fast enough that they can bounce between the two objectives. So if I see that I need them in the middle, I can just rotate them over because they have like 50 speed, right? But the terror-causing units on a lot of the mass that we have here is doing work, and it's certainly fun to see Lizards doing, some solid action here without healing, right? That's very much been the meta for Lizards is healing, but just having, a character like Nakai with some Flock of Doom action is a lot of fun because you can't actually bring Nakai with a Life Slan. I'm trying to think if you could heal him with a Rev Crystal. So you could bring, that probably would have honestly been a really good idea, is to bring a Rev Crystal in reserve. I don't think I did in my particular build, but having a Rev Crystal to heal Nakai up and the Ancient Salamanders would be absolutely backbreaking right now. So noticing a little bit of a freebie up here. I do send a couple of my tattered units up to Objective 1. We're going to be trying to grab that one, but really this is pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point. Nakai is just going to circle beat these guys down in the middle with his Ancient Salamanders. We have firm control over the side objective, and this objective up on Objective Uno here is going to be ours, or Ichi in Japanese, I believe. Ichi ni Sanchi, something like that. We're close. So at this point, we have such an overwhelming force with Nakai and the Salamanders. He does have a decent value, but a lot of the value is still alive, right? Like Nakai is functional. We call in some Ripperdactyls, which are going to be tearing apart the Night Goblin Shaman. Complete break for the Greenskins, and that is it. GG, well played. The old ones smile here today. It was quite a fun game. I didn't think the build would work. I was very skeptical, but look at that. 1,300 value on Flock of Dooms on a 450 gold character. Really good value. And Nakai, he only got 1,000, but you have to remember, he's giving Ward Save and Perfect Vigor. So that whole blob fight at the end, all those homies had Perfect Vigor. Super good. And his Primal Roar is quite nice too. 1,000, 1,300, decent performances there. The Cold One Knights came in, also did good. Croxagores just kind of tanked. And the Star Chamber Guardians got heavily focused, but still fought to the bitter end, so no complaints there. For his army, what were the big performers? Looks like the Broken Tusk Mob didn't quite pay for themselves. Yeah, a lot of, I think it just came from his archers. Yeah, 900, 700, 900. So a lot of his value was from his archer corps for sure. GG, well played. See you guys around. I definitely think maybe switching up the Rampage, probably not super good against the Lizard, so maybe just bring a different kind of character. What would you bring? I'm a big Grimgor enjoyer, but Grimgor is pretty haggard. Probably, he was saying after the game that he would probably bring Azag in retrospect, and I think that's the right choice. Anyways, guys, see you around. Take care of yourselves, and that is it for today.